Podcast City Network.
You are listening to the Rip Griffin Show. Make sure to subscribe to the show on all the major podcast platforms. Here's your host, Rip Griffin.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this very special edition of the Rip Griffin Show. There we go. Got that out there. Because the Houston Astros are headed to the World Series. That's right. You heard it. The World Series. They are going to the World Series. God, it feels good to get that out. Because you know why? Because this team has battled. This team has persevered. This team has taken all the boos and all the jeers and all the hateful comments. And you know what? That is now out the window because you can't do that anymore because they are headed to the World Series. 4-2, they beat the Boston Red Sox. And it was a series that we had a feeling that it would be a very high scoring series because it was two very, very powerful offenses that can get going at any time. And we saw that in this series. You know, first of all, you have to tip your cap to the Boston Red Sox because they played a hell of a series. It was hard fought, especially there the first 3 or 4 games in this series because it was a lot of high scoring. You know, both teams really put up a lot of runs, especially in Game 2 with the Red Sox when they just went on that tear and put up double-digit runs. And then in Game 3, the same thing. It was a back and forth matchup, but there was going to be an issue with pitching. It was going to be which bullpen or which starting pitching would persevere. Excuse me, because we know that both offenses were very capable of putting up runs. We just discussed that, and it's. But here's the thing with this series, it was a team that if they were given the opportunity to put up runs, they were going to do that. And the Astros did that in this series. Yes, they took Game 1. It was a very close series. 5-4 was that final score. And then the Astros went down 2 games. They lost Game 2. They lost Game 3. And there was a lot of things that the Astros needed to go back to do to kind of get this series back to Houston. And that's what they did. They made some adjustments going into Game 4. It was one of those that we weren't sure who was going to be starting because starting pitching really the first couple games was very didn't really put out a whole lot of innings, didn't give you any depth. We saw that with Game 1 with Framber, who went just a little over 2 1/3 innings. Luis Garcia in Game 2 was an inning and a third. And then you're kind of wondering, oh crap, you know, this series has the potential to be a very long series, and this bullpen's already going to be taxed going into the first couple games. And it was very frustrating. It was very nerve-wracking because we saw the same thing in Game 3 with Jose Urquidy. Didn't really get a whole lot of depth. Zach Greinke didn't get a whole lot of depth. Excuse me. Zach Greinke, I believe, was Game 3, and Urquidy was Game 4. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Urquidy was 3. Greinke was 3. Urquidy was 4. That's right. Either way. Anyways, both of those pitchers pitched on the road in Boston, and they weren't able to actually give the Astros any depth. And that was nerve-wracking, especially when the Red Sox went up 2-1. And then you're wondering, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? Because if this bullpen can't pull it out, this series was over, to be quite honest. And you know what? Looking back at this as how James Click just built this bullpen, yes, there was a lot of struggles in the regular season, but this bullpen just came alive here in the postseason. I mean, even when they were getting blown out in Game 2, the bullpen did not give up a single run in that entire game in Game 2. And then even in Game 3, I mean, the bullpen nailed it down. And that's what they needed to do. And it showed that even though the starting pitching was not great in the first 4 games, we still managed to keep it going. And that's what they needed to do. They locked it down. Game 5, I mean, was a completely different scenario. You know, the Astros won Game 4, thankfully. when they put up that massive uh, 2-out rally there in the top of the ninth. That was insane. Jason Castro, you are a savior, man, because the Astros probably would not be in this position right now if it weren't for you. So my cap to you, man. But I mean, you gotta look at game 5. I mean, that's where the series is tied up 2-2. Framber Valdez comes back and redeems himself. Goes eight innings, gives this bullpen a rest. Has a no-hitter going into, I think it was the 5th inning or so. Framber Valdez put this team on his back. Christian Javier in game 4 went and threw 50 some odd pitches and took the team and put him on his back. And then in game 6 tonight, Luis Garcia, who was taken out of the game in game 2 with some apparent knee injury of some sort, and the dude was lights out tonight. Going 5 2/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, had 7 strikeouts. His fastball topped off at 97 miles an hour. That's something we hadn't seen from Luis Garcia all season. Yeah, he was amped up, but you know what? He was amped up and was able to put that in the strike zone and control that fastball, and that was great to see him do. The final line score in game 6, Boston, no runs, 2 hits. That was it. The Astros had 5 runs, 10 hits, and no errors. No errors. That was the big thing, what we saw in the first couple games. They played pretty great baseball, and you can kind of hear. I've got the pregame, or they're in the locker room in the clubhouse right now celebrating with the champagne, so you kind of might be able to hear that in the background. A little champagne celebration going on there. That's exciting, man. How would you feel to be inside the clubhouse right now as these guys are celebrating? It's magnificent. That'd be awesome. But anyways, going back to this game here, the Astros did something that we hadn't seen a lot of teams do in the postseason, especially with 2 outs. In this series alone, they put up 27 runs with 2 outs. They outscored the Red Sox 22-1 since game 4. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. They turned it on. They when they had to. This team is an experienced ball club, and they turned it up. And it was so exciting to watch. I'm glad they're heading back to the World Series. We don't know who they're going to be playing yet. It could be either the Atlanta Braves or Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 6 on that is on Saturday, with the Braves leading the series 3-2. So we don't know who's going to be in that, but whatever it is, it's going to be pitching and offense. That's what the series is going to be about. The Braves have turned it on. The Dodgers can turn it on as well. So it's going to be all about pitching, and it's all going to be about, the best team's going to win. I mean, but also too, your World Series, or your ALCS MVP is Yordan Alvarez. He had a phenomenal game. I mean, going 4 for 4. In the bottom of the first, he doubled the deep center, which brought in Alex Bremen, which put the Astros up 1-0. In the bottom of the 6th, Kyle Tucker grounded into a double play, but Yordan Alvarez scored, which the Astros were up 2-0. And then, of course, Kyle Tucker again in the bottom of the 8th hit that 3-run home run, but which put the game pretty much out of reach at that point, which was 5-0. But I mean, Yordan Alvarez was phenomenal in this series. He was one of those that he just continued to produce. And he wasn't doing it by hitting the long ball. He hit maybe 1, maybe 2 home runs in this series, but he was doing it by using the entire field. He was doing it by he laid out a triple tonight when he hit that in the bottom of the 6th, when he hit that that one down the line that got deep into the corner in right field. I mean, doubles. I mean, he was one game 5, I believe he was just a triple shy. Of course, now he gets the triple, but he's a triple shy of the cycle in game 5. I mean, Yordan Alvarez is a beast, and I really am excited that we were able to get him. The Astros have benefited from him being in that lineup. And it's exciting to see him at such a young age, at 24. Kyle Tucker's 24 as well. Can you imagine Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker in this lineup for the next foreseeable future? God, it's going to be exciting to watch these guys. Really going to be exciting. The Astros are headed back to the World Series for the third time in 5 years. I mean, Dusty Baker is 4 games away from getting his first World Series as a manager. He did get one as a player with the Atlanta Braves. No, excuse me. I believe it was with the Dodgers. I wrote an article on it on overtimeheroics.net on Dusty Baker. And so he does have one as a player, but he does not have one as a manager. And he's, the second in wins with over 2,000 wins, 2,388 now, I think is the number. So, he's in a category with, Tony La Russa and Tito, Terry Francona, and Joe Madden. But those guys have World Series rings. Dusty does not, and this is the opportunity that he has. He's got 4 more games to win. It can be done. This is an Astros team that is, like I mentioned just earlier, that they have been through so much through this scandal that just brought a dark cloud over the organization. Dusty Baker comes in and does a tremendous job. If you saw the ceremony with the trophies, owner Jim Crane mentioned that. He mentioned that Dusty came in at the organization's darkest days and has guided this team to a World Series. So the Astros are your 2021 American League Championship winners. They'll be hanging under the pennant there at Minute Maid Park. And then the head to the World Series starts on Tuesday. It kind of depends on who they're going to be playing. It could be the Los Angeles Dodgers, or it could be the Atlanta Braves. Determining on who they play determines whether or not they get home field advantage. Now, if they play the Braves, then I believe they will have home field advantage because they have the best record of the two teams. Now, if they play the Dodgers again, a rematch of 2017, which that would be an epic rematch. I think that's what Major League Baseball wants. Then they would head to Los Angeles first because Los Angeles had the 106 wins. But Carlos Correa is just eating some pasta right now, some chicken there in the clubhouse while the team's celebrating. So, these guys are excited. It's going to be great to see what they can continue to do and who they're going to face. And this is a team that is on a mission, and they showed it tonight and throughout this whole series for that matter. They never gave up. They kept going. They kept persevering. That's a word that I'm going to continue to use just to describe this Astros team. It's great to see them. It's great to be able to sit here and talk about these guys. And I can't get enough. I'm so happy for the Astros to finally get back to the World Series for the third time in 5 years. This is a team that has worked hard for it. And they have taken the brunts and the bruises. You just hear them celebrating right now. It's great. So, but that's going to do it for this episode, guys. The Houston Astros are headed back to the World Series. We will find out who they will be facing. It's either the Los Angeles Dodgers or the Atlanta Braves. But congratulations to Yordan Alvarez. He is your 2021 ALCS MVP. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Congratulations to the Houston Astros, your 2021 American League champions. Take care, guys.